Hey, what's up, y'all? This is another episode of Grow Food Essay. Today we're going to be talking about different containers and things that you can grow in so you can start growing right away. One of the easiest ones was this bed frame here that I built for my neighbor. So there's many possibilities that are out there, so we're just going to go scavengering and we'll see what we can find. Okay, so some of the items that you can kind of look for are just even boxes like this. This looks like it was just an old shelf, particle board. Not really going to last that long, but if you need to plant in it right away, this will be a planter. So kind of thinking along those lines, really find something that'll just get you through a year, something to hold soil. So there's things like these bags of leaves that are often kind of thrown out. People will, rake up all the leaves out of their area and then bag them up, put them on the street. I always go and collect all these. It's best to find them in the paper bags, but you can throw away this plastic paper ones you can incorporate into the garden. Other things I kind of look for are just even logs, either if you want to make hugelkultur mounds or if you can use these for the edges of your garden bed to kind of make some temporary things that'll hold some soil up to plant in. I think you've seen some of that in my other videos before. So there's kind of some more resources that are available when scavengering. Like I even found this little tray fabric material. That's probably got a good year that at least you can kind of grow something in, or at least for a season, put in a bag of soil and just start growing any way that you can. So here we got some tires. You'll see a lot of times people growing in tires. I would not recommend it if you're growing anything that you want to eat, herbs and vegetables and things like that. These can often kind of like leach out chemicals still as they're breaking down. Same thing with like railroad ties and sometimes just even treated wood. So even if we look at this here, this can kind of even work laid down, but remember there's glues that are used to hold these particles together, and those can sometimes leach out. So kind of be careful with what you're planting in, but be creative and use what you have. So here we got another kind of igloo container. This can be used, or there's a bucket in here, but again, check maybe where it's been. We got an oil can in here, so I'd be careful about using some of these things, but there's often viable stuff that you can find to kind of plant in. There's some extra scrap wood that you can use to build some things. So this is something that works out really well here. We got plywood material. It's a shelf, or sometimes you can find drawers, and these can be planted in. So I'd recommend stuff like this. You can lay it down, plant right into it, and see, sometimes people are even throwing away different planters, a little busted up, but that can probably get you through a little bit of the season here. A couple different things, we got little, you can grow in this crock pot, you can grow in this fish tank, you can flip this upside down and grow in that. Yeah, there's a lot. You can fill this container with kind of like some of that peat moss material and start growing in that. And the last kind of stuff is, sometimes this is just a mattress, but normally there would be bed frames around next to them. Those bed frames make really good low profile beds that you can kind of start building out of. You can either get some more wood and fill in all the gaps so that the bed frame is completely closed in, but it kind of gives you the frame to start working with. This box frame here can be done with the same thing. You can take this, fill this in, pull all this material off, fill in the frame that's already built here with wood on the side, wood panels, and be able to make a quick little garden bed that way. So logs can be used as borders. You can find them whenever there's the bulk brush pickup that the city will sometimes do, and everybody puts a lot of their logs out on the side. I'll go and collect them and use them for things like this. You can use certain ones for hugelkulturs that we've kind of talked about, and we'll explain a little bit later on, or you can do some research online of how to incorporate that in. Finding little barrels that you can either cut down and grow in, metal, plastic ones, those are all viable. Sometimes we're trying to look for stuff to start growing seeds in, And we don't always have to think about growing seeds in individual containers, but sometimes we can just find a cardboard box. This one's a special kind of one that was found by a produce area that has wax on it, and that allows us to kind of like plant on the inside here. And we can just fill it with soil, put all of our seeds into it, and whenever we're ready to harvest our seed, we just dig out that one seedling that is grown, you know. So it doesn't always have to be separated in those ways that we might think, you know. So we can grow and just kind of start seeds in containers like this and transplant them outward. Here's an old keg that I found that I was able to cut out and grow into. Old metal containers. Really, you know, the possibilities are just endless. You know, you want to be able to just have something that's holding the soil in it. You want to make sure that you have drainage holes on the bottom so that this doesn't become boggy or saturated with water. And you want to make sure maybe that the material is, you know, non-toxic. So sticking to metals and things like that work out a lot better. But, you know, as we said, with some of the woods and things like that, you want to be a little bit more careful with. Really kind of look at the materials, especially be careful with things like tires. You know, I would only plant flowers or things like that, but I would really just avoid those in the garden in general. You know, just gathering stones that you can scavenger can also be used to build garden edges and beds.